Hey, we are
Um,
live. How are you, Maggie? So excited that you could spend a few minutes here with me and share with our community sort of what's been going on in your business and what you've been creating because it's super exciting. Um, we'll try to keep it short. I know a lot of us like to chit chat here, but why don't you first start off and tell me, really why we come together to do this? I guess I should first say for anyone listening is to inspire other women who want to create a business online, what is possible. A lot of times when we're living in our life, and we don't have an influencer that we've really felt connected to so that we see what's possible. We see how we could create something online that not only gives us financial freedom, but also lifestyle freedom, right? And so that's sort of what we come together to share with other women, just sort of like what's possible and be an example of that. So that's sort of why I do this, Maggie, and that's sort of the theme or the flavor of this interview. So I guess first off, tell us, Maggie, you're a naturopath and you're based in Boston, right? So tell me a little bit about that and what you were doing before we started working together, like how you were running your business.
sure, yeah. So I am a naturopath who really specializes in helping women sort of reclaim their health is my catchy term. Of course, I use different lingo when I'm marketing, but it's really about similar vibe, like empowering women, helping them take back their health and really just living a healthful lifestyle. I had sort of done the whole shingle, where you set up your own clinic, and it was very successful by any means as far as, being a doctor and seeing people as a cash-based practice. But after a while, it felt unfulfilling to me because it was sort of just like you'd come and you'd spend like 45 minutes, an hour with me, and then you go and you do your own thing. And there was a lot of time in between our visits where I felt like if we were more connected, that we could get you farther along the path of healing that you'd want to be on. So I think that's sort of like what steered me into like the online world and sort of like more of the coaching model. And then I realized it was less about like coming to doctor's visits and more about like having this like accountability partner. Which is funny because people would always describe me as like their guide, and if you think of like a coach or someone who's keeping you accountable, you really are guiding them on
Right.
this journey. Once I sort of saw the online model, I was like, oh gosh, everything, it's like, I can have more freedom. The people I see can have more freedom because they don't have to drive to come see me. I can see them anywhere. And even when I got online, I feel like there was still like, I was missing a way to get people to me regularly and then also get them well qualified to come see me. Because of course, then once you're online, there's like 5 million times as many people.
Right, exactly. Okay, we'll get to
So,
that in a second. So essentially, what you were saying is that what you were doing is kind of selling one-off sessions to someone who would come see you in your clinic, which is the traditional, model of going to see a healthcare practitioner, right? And but I think what we've realized is that it gives going online gives you more freedom, right? And it also helps you reach more people theoretically if you do it right. But it's actually more beneficial for our clients, right? Is what you're saying. Like, someone would come to you for one session and then they leave and then you sort of like hope that they come back, but like, what is possible for them if they really stuck to something longer term, right? Because usually it's like a deeper health issue that they really need some longer term accountability with. And that if you were working with them longer term and had a way to kind of bring them in a package or a program or something like that, that it would be actually, this is what I'm really interested in, that it's actually better for our clients. They get better results.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like they're so based on their superficial symptoms, which is obvious. Just wake up with those. It's like been developing for all this time, and they need someone to help them sort of like navigate not only healing those superficial symptoms, but then making sure they don't come back as well. And that's where that like, more continuity really applies.
Yeah, exactly. And you're obviously an expert in what you do. And so tell me, I guess then you kind of started alluding to it, like you started going online and then you're like, and then there's lots of people out there. So what started happening? And then like, how did you come to me?
Yeah, so I tried different, well, maybe I should do like a 3-month package and but still have it be like very, I think what it was is that, I'm still like, oh, I'm a naturopath and you can come to me for anything, because I mean, essentially I can treat anything. It's not necessarily what I love to do. I love working with women and with hormones and sort of the endocrine, adrenal system. But it was like this realization that like I couldn't really get the people in the door that I was wanting, because I guess, and what I came to learn from you is that, my message isn't specific enough.
Right.
It made total sense. It's just like, you can come see this naturopath in a package. Well, why would I do that when I can go see this other naturopath for these one-off visits? So.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's great. Okay. So so how did you find me?
An ad on Facebook.
Facebook
Yeah.
ad. And and then we hopped on the phone, right?
Yeah.
And then I guess, like, it was a scary step, right? To jump in to working with me.
Yeah. I mean, I think I actually found you and saw your webinar, and then I like opted out because I was like, this is a path I could go down, but I don't know that I'm ready to go down it. Because I have worked with coaches before. And so I'm just sort of like, always like, well, is this really what I want? And then I saw your ad again, probably a month to 2 later. And I was like, I think this is what, I want to do. So that's when I actually signed up for the call.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. The power of retargeting and still getting in front of people. You just kind of like beat them until they book a call with you. So, okay, so then tell me just like a little bit about, you're on the call. This is the route you'd like to go down, because in my webinar I explained that we talk about like how to automate and get you into a high ticket niche, or get you into a high ticket model, right? So that's sort of like, you had an inkling that that's what you'd like to do. What was, though, like, for all the women listening who are like, I'd like to do that too, but I don't know that I can, or I don't know that that's for me, or I don't know, if it's possible. You had probably some of that going on too, yeah?
Yeah. And I think for me, which obviously we're all coming to you at different places, like I had a lot of the pieces, I wouldn't say all of them now looking at having gone through the program, but I didn't know how to like put it all together. Like I knew how to do Facebook ads, I knew how to run them, but like I didn't know how to like bring people in effectively. So then it was like I was spending a lot of money, but not really seeing the results that I wanted to see. So then I would give up on it. Or like, people would come to me from referrals, but then, a lot of those referrals were from my ND patients, which is great, but they're still in that model of like, just the one-off visit. So there was a big disconnect of how to get the right people to me. And then, aware of how I work, which is different than a lot of naturopaths out there. And, I actually tell people, just because a lot of people who know naturopaths, I'm like, oh, I'm also a transformational health coach. Because I think it's just like, even though in my head it's probably the big thing, it's probably they could care less. But like, it's just, having to separate myself a little bit. I think I was also able to see that through the program as well.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so then tell me, you jumped in and you have a lot of pieces in place. You had already done, you'd already learned a lot of what you could and should be doing, but in like many coaches, right, we're trying to piecemeal lots of stuff together. I think that's a great point. So then when you came into my program and you learned what were the main things that really kind of brought it together for you, then I want to go into talking about your ads and how they're running now and like what's happening differently.
Yeah. So I think just having, I'm such like I need a 10,000 foot view in order to be able to understand, the end goal. So even just having like, well, it's going to be like A to B to C to D. help just solidify even like my focus, right? As opposed to like being like, oh, I'm trying this and I'm trying this and I don't know if it's working. So like, having the system set up where now a woman sees my ad and she's like, oh, that's totally me. I'm going to go watch your free training. And then she gets even more information about me. So then she's coming to our calls and she's like, I really like what you said, and you say it so differently than everyone else. And so she's already like primed to like understand how I could benefit her, subconsciously and consciously. She's like, oh, this is different. And this is, I think, what I've been looking for. So
that's huge, right? And what's cool about that is that, the way that you've set it up now and the way that I teach, it's like you've differentiated yourself from other people who may do what you do, but and you're a naturopath, and yet though you really want to provide a major transformation in someone's life, and we've gotten you clear on your messaging and your niche, which was huge, right? Because that's how we get into high ticket. That's how we start, really having our clients and our people understand that we're an expert, that this is what we live for. This is what we do. We're not jack of all trades. We're actually very, very, very qualified for this specific issue. So when someone comes to us, they feel that. And the other thing I wanted to say is what you've been able to do in through that funnel or system that we've set up, right? That is simplified and, like you said, is focused. But you're able to kind of put your own flavor on it. Like, people get to know you and they feel connected to you. And that's why I think a lot of times coaches, and it's natural for all of us to feel like, well, who am I? Or there's other people doing what I do, and so why would I? Or, but the thing is that you're coming at it with your own stuff and like experience and passion, and you can put that very powerfully in your marketing that's authentic and not sleazy, but very powerful enough to get someone to the next level where they're booking a call and getting on the phone with you.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, even to add to that, as painful as it is to sort of like say, oh, I only work with these people, it's actually really enjoyable because that's what I like. So like, I don't want to work with the gamut of people. So, as hard as it can be to figure that out, I think it's also very liberating because you're like, oh, I'm going to actually work with people I really want to work with.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. That's huge. Okay. So tell me, like, so now you have a complete, like, automated funnel set up, and that system is running on autopilot for you, right? So it's going out there and it's finding your people, and they're clicking on your ad like crazy, right? We were just talking before we went live here about your stats and what's going on. So you're paying like $3 per conversion, which is amazing. And, many people might not know what that means, but that's really, really, really good. We want to be under $10. Like the grade is under $5. And so that's awesome. And, that means, though, that people are responding to your content, meaning your ad copy. They like it and they're feeling connected to it. So that's really positive. And one of the things that you didn't have before, you had tried to do Facebook ads and they weren't really converting for you, right? So you just felt like you were throwing money down the drain. And now you're at least building your list, and there's people converting to strategy calls and clients. So that's awesome. What else about that? Like, what else kind of, is now life for you, as opposed to before?
Yeah. And I mean, I guess one part of what you just said, I'll just repeat it anyway, because it really is so liberating, is like, I'm not like in a million Facebook groups being like, hey, can I add a bunch of value, which I love doing, but like to have to always rely on that and not knowing where your return on investment is really frustrating as a business owner. So like to just have that system where someone's like, oh yeah, that's me. And like, I just see a discovery call pop up on my calendar is like genius, because it's not like I know where they're coming from and I know the value of what is being put out and what's coming back. So that's really amazing. And then just having, the calendar fill up and you're like, oh, sweet, I have a discovery call this day and then I have another one this day. And, getting on the phone with these women and just helping them understand, most likely something they've never really heard before. Like, having someone who is a doctor, who's going to help guide you, who's going to help you possibly transform your life, and make so many facets of your life better, right? Because health is such a huge concern for people. It's great. So I think it's just really the entire system is great. But I think just having that front end where you're really understand where your people are coming from is awesome. Or just knowing, I don't care where they're located. It's just like they're saying yes. And I'm like, okay, great.
Yeah, which means that, like the automation piece is amazing. So a lot of times we talk about the client lead generation, the system that goes out, gets in front of your ideal person, and they convert and they get on the phone with you. And, that's awesome. We're finding our clients without going out and manually like needing to like do a blog post and a guest blog post and post in a million
Right.
pictures. It's not that we don't want to do that. And if you want to do that for fun, it's awesome. But imagine doing that like you have now. And you though know that if you don't want to do that for a week or a day or whatever, that your system is out there working for you without you manually doing anything. And it's working. It's not like you just put an ad up and you're hoping and praying. It's converting and bringing people to you. And then it's just a numbers game, right? As you've learned, then it's like, just as long as the webinar is converting to calls and calls to clients and all of that, it's just kind of, then you can scale up or down if you want to from there, right? Then it's just increase your ad spend. You get in front of more people. The numbers, stay the same essentially. It's just a percentage.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing though I was going to say is this automation piece. It's lifestyle, and you're a mom, right? You have
Mm-hmm.
2 young kids. And so, like life can be hard enough, like just having these passions, wanting to do your own thing, your gift to the world, going out there and doing that, but taking the client lead generation part out of running your business so that you can actually serve your clients, right? Like you can actually be with your clients and really be with them, and not when you're working with them, week after week, you're not needing to also worry about really keeping your business going. And getting more clients.
Yeah. I mean, it's huge because like even the coach that I worked with previously, and not saying that you wouldn't do this, but like in other ways, but like marketing is such a huge part of what your business is, and having this system in place, relieves a bit of the stress of that for certain.
Yeah. I mean, to automate it, and like I say a lot, it's like, why not now? We do have these systems, and especially for women, like you're the one who focuses on, holistic hormonal balancing, and, how important that is for us women. And so it goes right in alignment with, what I really believe in wanting to help women achieve, which is, we can't be masculine pushing running our businesses. Like it just can't be. We're not designed that way, and we'll burn out, and then we have the effects on the rest of our life and our body. So, this is just something that we want to do for ourselves, and then be an example for other women, which is like, wow, what if we could run big empires, and have like really successful, impactful businesses, but not actually need to like push and work. Like, yes, it's work, but like we have the internet now. We have systems that run without us once we set them up. So there's no reason why we can't and we shouldn't be leveraging that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay. Well, anything else? Any final like comments about being in our group, or working with me, or anything else that you want to share, and then we'll close it up.
Well, I just think, having the group there is really great because, you've got like you and your team, but then also like other people going through the experience so you can learn with them. I'm definitely a believer in like when there's a group of people, you're going to get so much more out of it. And then, I think, you're sort of like leading the way, and you're just like keeping everyone focused. And it's really great because, there is a lot of, systems that you have to put together, and like, making sure that you're having your message clear. So just having the focus and the the vision, holding the vision has been really helpful as well.
Yeah, I would. One thing I like to make clear, because sometimes people don't know before they come into the program that, like I'm reviewing all of your stuff, right? So like you're not going off there and, creating your webinar and wondering if the content is going to work and wondering if the Facebook ad copy is going to work. I mean, you create it, but then I help you and I review everything. So I think that's really helpful. That might be putting words in your mouth, but and then also
exactly.
mindset, right? Because like this isn't an easy journey. I'm never going to tell someone you come in, you learn the system, and then you sail off into the sunset and you have blocks and you have resistance and you have shit and doubt and like things that come up. And so, what's I think a huge part of this is me not only teaching you the system stuff, but also, helping you see where your mindset can be attracting things that you don't want, even though you say that you want it. There's certain ways in which we get in our own way, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that you're great at that. And if you're expecting a coach to help you with that, then you definitely do. So, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, Maggie, thank you so much for hopping on here. I'm sure it was really powerful, mostly for our listeners. And I thank you. It's been such fun helping you grow your business in this way.
Thank you. You're welcome. Bye.